Yellow. I never thought I make recordings in my car, but now, guess what? I am. We have to sometimes get out of our comfort zones. Speaking of comfort zones, I was just having a conversation with my friend, and he said that he was a little stressed. And I was like, me too. I have that too. And I remembered, which is something that I've been doing lately, because you have to find a cause of why these things are happening. And, turns out it is the full moon, and a lot of these strong feelings, strong, behaviors, like negative behaviors or negative feelings and thoughts are coming up to the surface for us to review and transmute them, do away with them, get rid of them, look at the devil in the face and be like, you're not getting me this time. And honestly, it's just about asking yourself, do I really want to keep believing in that? Because since we're the creators of our own reality, what we've been taught by society has not been good, and therefore we experience a life that is not so good. Johnny Cash comes into mind because we can be the prophets of our own lives. We can prophetize our own outcomes. Whatever we say goes. It becomes. It happens. And the thing with Johnny Cash is that when his wife passed on, 6 months later he followed. And what do you think that is? Because we can call our own number. That's how powerful we are. Anybody who is terminally ill, and they decide that the conventional methods to keep them alive is not worth, the time or the pain or the suffering. They just decide, I think I'm done, I'm ready to go, and they do pass on. I mean, there's plenty of examples to show you that whatever we say becomes, whatever we say goes. So in this case of worrying and being stressed out by our problems is literally what we've been taught by society, by the world. Between us and what we hope for, there's always fear, there's always anxiety, there's always worry. And why is that? Because that's what we've been taught. The world literally told us that that's what responsible people do. You're not being responsible if you're not worrying about your problems. Oh, that means you don't care if you're not worrying about your problems. You're just throwing your problems to the wind. You're being irresponsible. I mean, if you're anything like me, that's what you grew up with. And now, when you are all of a sudden you start thinking about your problems or whatever, we get to worry because it's something to do. It's, if you want to do something, worry. That's doing something about it. Yeah, but it's like, and again, it's that philosophy that we were instilled into, to believe that negativity gets you something, gets you somewhere, is doing something, that negativity is real, and positivity is just being thinking positive is just being a fool, which is ridiculous. I mean, it's literally something that somebody who is being negative would say. It comes with the territory. I mean, you say some stupid stuff when you're being negative. So, that this was taught to us, and that's why I call it the biggest crime against humanity in human history. They taught us to direct that power, that creative power that we have against us. So we tear ourselves apart, worrying, being anxious, being fearful. I'm telling you from experience, because like I told you before, if you've been listening to my talks, I am a professional warrior. Like, not a warrior that fights, but a warrior that worries. You know, I worry a lot because that's what I was taught to do. But in essence, I mean, what does worry do? But just get you down. Get you down, get you so down, so low, that sometimes you want to just take yourself out of it. I don't want to live like this. I want out. And many people choose to end themselves because of worry, because of anxiety, because of this negativity that we were taught. Hell, they even made it divine that you must suffer. No pain, no gain, right? It's a ridiculous way of thinking, and thinking about these things, it reminds me of these birds that I saw fly yesterday. You know, me and birds, you know, it's anytime I need a little pick-me-up, the angels send me birds. And why? Because when you see a bird flying in the sky, the message is rise high, you know, rise to a high vibration. And there's a lot of hawks and eagles around here, and yesterday I saw an eagle that was flying around. But you know what I noticed is that when they're flying really at a high altitude, they're not really flapping around to stay afloat. They're gliding. They're gliding, and you know what? The interesting thing about that is that when you're gliding, you're not working hard at all. You're not putting effort. You're not stressing. You're not, you know, none of that. That no pain, no gain. I mean, talk about gain up there, you know, as they're gliding. All they do is just be very sensitive to the changes in the wind. That's all they're really doing. And when you're really up high, let's say in a high vibration, that's our job, to just be very sensitive with the changes, so we can just tilt a little bit and tilt a little bit, you know, to stay afloat. And I say tilt a little bit because yesterday this eagle was gliding, and then I saw this little bird come after it and wanted to peck at it, you know. And as it get gliding around, this bird kept diving in, try to peck at it, and the eagle wouldn't react violently. It would just tilt a little bit and be out of the way, you know, because it was gliding, and all they had to do is just tilt a little bit and it would be out of the way. And then I saw this other little bird who wanted to gang up on the eagle, and there he goes, you know. I swear I could almost hear it say, let me at him, like he was like a scrappy dude, you know, type of bird, you know. I could just imagine, because you can learn a lot about animal behavior. You can relate it to human behavior. And I could just hear this little guy with a Napoleon complex going, let me at him, and he's just rushing to get into the, you know, into the gang up on the big guy. And now there was two of them, and they're both trying to pick at the eagle, and the eagle just, it wouldn't retaliate with violence. It wouldn't flip out, you know, and freak out, you know. No, it would just tilt a little bit and get out of the way. Tilt a little bit and get out of the way. Meanwhile, it's gliding the whole time, not stressing. You know, like I said, you can relate these little birds to our problems, or you can relate it to people's behavior. That when our problems or people are trying to get you down, you know, from your high altitude. I mean, just think about it. You've been there where, when you were in a high vibration and people just look at you like, what are you so happy about? And they're trying to get you down. So just remember, just rise high, and up there, just be very sensitive about the changes that are coming, and just tilt a little bit, and be out of the way. There shouldn't be any effort into it. Nature doesn't show any effort, and aren't we nature? In our natural ways, the way God made us to be happy, to thrive in happiness and in bliss, because that's where the power is. But in this society, we have been convinced to employ negativity. That's our comfort zone. That's what's become our comfort zone. And I'm sorry, but there's nothing comfortable with that. It's just a place that we go to because that's what we've been taught to do. Think about it and feel about it.